5:30 in the morning. I woke up pretty early. I've been going to sleep early, so I've been waking up early. And a question I've been getting asked a lot is about the waxes that I use. So I figured I would just do this video. Sorry, the ring light's on and it really hurts my eyes. I would do a video of all the waxes I've used, and I have used a lot. So the full video is going to be on my YouTube, but I'm going to put a portion here. Let's get started. This is the first wax pot I ever got. It's Kahlua Wax. I got it off Amazon. After this one broke, because I have a tendency to be aggressive with the wax, I got this one, Kahlua Wax again. This one is one that I use in a majority of my videos. I love Kahlua Wax. Would highly recommend Kahlua Wax. And then Tress Wellness, I just recently got this one. And this wax pod has been a huge competitor. I absolutely love this wax pod. Highly recommend it. And then we have Candy Wax. Candy Wax, so this pod specifically, it took a long time for the wax to melt. And then I noticed that when I was trying to clean the pod, the wax wouldn't come out. So I had emailed the company and I said, hey, I can't clean the pod. The wax isn't melting enough to where I can pour it out and properly clean it. Like, you could still see the inside of it is pretty sticky still. And the email back was, oh, the wax pod isn't meant to be cleaned. Okay. So these are the wax beads that I have used on my body. These are all the different brands. This is the brand Wakse, Wakse. Then we have Tress Wellness. We have the Wax Candy. Then we have Yelin and Femerio. So in the next part of the video, I am going to go into a full detailed description of each brand that I have used. Like I said, the full video is going to be on my YouTube and I will go into full detail on each one. So if you are interested, go check out my YouTube channel and everything will be on there. Okie dokie. Bye-bye. Let's get started. The Kahlua Wax pod. So what I like about this pod specifically, I like the digital, so I can put it to a number, because when it's not digital, it's really hard for me to like gauge out the correct temperature. Kahlua Wax, the wax melts pretty fast. It's maybe 10 minutes and it's melted. And then what I do is I put it on full heat. I'll melt the wax, and then once it's melted, I will put it down. My desired temperature for my body is 168. So I put it on 168 because the wax kind of needs to be like a honey texture. So not too thin, but not too thick. You want the wax to be hot enough, but don't burn yourself, because I have burnt myself numerous times, and just don't do it. You just want it to be exactly the right temperature for you. A temperature that I can tolerate is 168, so you can always go off that. What I also do is, once I put the temperature to my desired whatever I just said, I don't know what I just said, it's early. When I put it to 168 and I let it sit there for about 30 minutes before I even try to test it. And what I'll do is I'll get one of my sticks. Let me show you. Okay, so I'll get one of my sticks, and then I'll get the wax, and I will actually put it on my finger first. And if that's okay, then I put it like kind of right here on a thin part of the skin, because it's like a really sensitive area. So I'll put just a little bit there, and if it's too hot, then it's too hot. If it's fine, then I go ahead and start waxing. I will do my mustache, I will do my armpits, I'll do my arms, I'll do Brazilian, I will do legs. Yeah, everywhere. The only thing I don't do is my eyebrows, because I'm too scared to wax my eyebrows. Isn't that funny? I'm able to do like a full Brazilian, but I'm too scared to wax my eyebrows. whatever. Okay, on to the next pot. Okay, so next we have candy wax. Candy wax, I honestly, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10, maybe, if I'm being completely honest. The wax took forever to melt. It took like almost an hour and the wax still wasn't melted. Like the bottom part was melted, and I didn't use a silicone insert. I used the metal insert that's provided, this one, and it was almost an hour and the wax still hadn't melted, and I was getting kind of frustrated, but I was like, whatever, I'm gonna work with it. So took way too long to melt. Because it took way too long to melt, I decided to email the company. And I was like, it was really nice. I think I still have the email, but I was like, hey, I noticed that the wax is not melting. The actual wax beads though, I'm gonna go into a full description. The wax beads, they're fine. The wax beads were fine. But the actual pod, I was like, So I emailed them, was like, hey, it's not melting. I'm trying to clean it. And how I clean my pod is I put a little bit of coconut oil in it, and I'll get a paper towel. You have to do it when it's hot though. So I pour the excess that's in here into a silicone mold, and then just the scraps that are in there, I just wipe it with coconut oil and a paper towel. So emailed them, said it wasn't coming out, blah, blah, blah. I get an email back saying, oh, I'm so sorry, the wax pod isn't meant to be cleaned. And I was like, huh? Why isn't the wax pod meant to be cleaned? And she just said, or I don't know if it was a she or he, I'm sorry, but the company said that the wax pod just isn't meant to be cleaned. And I'm like, okay, well, I like cleaning my stuff after I use it. So I have only used this pod in maybe 1 or 2 videos. I personally don't recommend this pod. I don't care for it. Now we are going to, oh, it's plugged in. Let me unplug it. Okay. So now we are going to move on to Trace Wellness. So for about a year now, I have been using Kahlua, and then I discovered Tress Wellness. Absolutely love them. Highly, highly recommend Tress Wellness. They also have the digital, so it goes to a number. Let me see if I can show you guys. Okay, so yeah, it does. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you can kind of see the numbers, but it goes to a digital. So I do the same thing that I did with Kahlua. I put it all the way up, and once it's all the way melted, this one, it took about 10 to 15 minutes. It was a little slower than the Kahlua, but still highly, highly, like it's already warm, so I'm gonna have to turn this off. I mean, it took about 10 to 15 minutes for the wax to melt, and it melted all the way. And then I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. What I did with this, the only critique I would give is to include one of the silicone inserts, because it is just so much easier for cleanup. Kolua has pods that have the silicone inserts included when you buy the wax kit. Tress Wellness, to my knowledge, does not. Overall, I would give this like a 9.9 out of 10. I absolutely love this wax pod. I am the CEO of Aggressive Wax. I have been known throughout TikTok and YouTube. Why are you so aggressive? So I do my aggressive test to see what wax pods can hang, and Tress Wellness definitely passed the test. Okay, so highly recommend Tress Wellness wax pod. Now we're gonna move on to the actual wax beads. Okay, so Femero, this was one of my first bags of wax that I bought. And full disclaimer, I have purchased a majority. I have had a couple companies send me wax, but probably 90% of the wax I have purchased with my own money. So these are honest reviews. Okay, Femero wax, it was good. It was good wax. The thing with wax that I'm noticing is the wax all of it will take off your hair. Some waxes just take a few more strips. That's it. And it's really based on the technique. You know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm actually gonna start melting some wax now so I can show you how I do it. Okay, so I just put some wax in. I'll go ahead and show you real quick. I'm just gonna keep the camera like this. Okay, so I just put some wax in, and this is, I'm putting it up all the way before, so the wax can melt faster. And then once it's all melted, I will put it to my desired temperature. All right, let's continue. Okay, next we are gonna talk about mallow wax. Mallow wax, this one probably took about 3 strips per, like I had to do it 3 times for the hair to actually come off. But I mean, it was fine. It's like each strip takes a little bit more hair. So that was fine. I guess I would give this one maybe a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, I'd give it. Also, when you're getting wax, wax is expensive. It is really expensive. But I personally don't care if I have to go over the strip a couple more times. So I try and get the best bargain price for my wax. So I will get like the cheaper wax and just go over it a couple times, which is, it's fine. For me, it's fine. Okay, now we are going to talk about Blue Zoo. They are very affordable. Blue Zoo was a very affordable wax that I got. So the wax was very good. It took off hair, I would say in 2 to 3 strips, but you get so much wax. Like I have filled up my entire drawer and I still have this much left over. So it comes with, I don't know how much, they didn't mark it, but it's either 1,000 grams or 500 grams. I think it's like a pound or 2 pounds of wax. And that was very affordable. Now we are going to go into Tress Wellness Wax Beads. So like I said earlier in the video, I highly recommend their wax pod, their wax beads. So when you buy their kit, if you buy their kit, it comes with 5 little baggies. And the first thing I noticed with these is that the description actually smells like the beads, which is nice. I mean, that's just an added bonus. The wax did pull off hair. This did take 2 to 3 strips. Wasn't the first strip, which is honestly, it's normal for it to not take off everything in one strip. So I would give this one, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 for the wax beads. Candy wax, their beads were good. They were good. I mean, the same thing, 2 to 3 strips. You can get all different colors on Amazon. The candy wax, the beads took 2 to 3 strips. It was just, yeah, it was okay. It was okay. That's kind of what I would say about it. Not my favorite, but it did the job if I made it. So I just had to keep going over and over and it was fine. Okay. And the next brand that I wanted to talk about is the brand Wakse, Wakse. So I think I just burped on the camera. Sorry. So I need to get water. Hold on. I got my water. Okay. So the brand Wakse, their beads are hands down my favorite. I would highly, highly recommend the brand Wakse. Wakse. They ship everywhere. And the colors that they have are awesome. This one was cotton candy and it still smells like cotton candy. And I have had this. I'm like, I don't want to use it because it's so pretty. I had the big bottle and I've just kept this for like the perfect occasion for over a year and it still smells like cotton candy. I have had the best sex. Jesus Christ. I have had the best success with 1 to 2 strips for the brand Wakse, Wakse. All their colors, they come out with seasonal colors. So for Halloween, they had like a deep orange. It was all their colors are like metallic-y. So very shiny. They have cotton candy. They had, for Christmas time, they have candy cane lane. They have different colors of browns. They have purples. They have bright orange. They have a bunch of different colors. And I have personally had the best success with the brand Wax. Their beads is typically what I use for when I do my Brazilians. What was I gonna say? I remembered what I was gonna say. They are expensive, very, very expensive. Like a bottle this size, I think is like 16 bucks. And this is really, this much wax will probably get like one full arm, if I'm being completely honest. But they are worth every penny. That's the thing with the brand Wax. They are literally worth every single penny. They are my absolute favorite. And no, I have not collabed with them. I have tried, and every single time they say, no, sorry. And I'm like, okay. But I still buy from them because I absolutely love their products. So if I'm being completely honest, I would highly recommend they get a 10 out of 10 from me for their actual wax beads. And I think, oh, we have Wonkar. This was a good brand as well. This one was very affordable. The wax, it took about 2 to 3 strips for the hair to actually come out, but it was, for me, that's fine. And then the Kahlua wax. So some brands will say that it's recommended for coarse hair, meaning you have thick hair. So that is true though. This wax took 1 to 2 strips. So there are different brands that specifically are for thicker body hair, and those are honestly just hit or miss. I haven't used other, like this one I have used, and this one I would recommend. The Wax brand though, they have been true for coarse hair. So yeah, I'm going to show you the actual waxing process now. So my wax has melted, and I put it all the way up to 257. And so now I put it down. It's lowering the temperature right now. I'm putting it down to 168. This one is the brand Wax, W-A-K-S-E, the wax beads that are inside here. And you see how pretty the color is? I love the color. So this is actually a really good temperature. You see how it's like, actually no, I'm gonna let it cool off for a little bit longer. You see it's still a little bit runny, so I don't want it to be that runny. Kind of want it to fall a little bit slower before I put the wax on my body. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this see. Okay, so see how it's green there? So that means that it's at the desired temperature, but the ends over here will get extremely hot. So I'm just gonna let this cool off probably for about 10 minutes, and I will come back when the wax is ready. Okay, so we are back, and the wax should be melted. So let's see, I kind of just like to do this, and then I'll turn it a little bit. Now I'm going to do the temperature testing, and I will show you how I do the temperature testing. Okay, so just going to do this, and then kind of just do it on my finger first. Okay, so that still feels pretty hot, but tolerable. So that is going to melt. While that is melting, I am going to, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Try and do this. And let's see. Oh yeah, okay, so that's good. All right. Yeah, so that's ready to rumble. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on the actual waxing process. Oh, you know what? Well, let me rip these off. Okay. There we go. And there you go. And there's that. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started on waxing. Okay, so I just recently waxed, but we are going to get this strip right here. I don't know if you could see the hair, but we're gonna get right down here, okay? I changed my mind. We are going to do my wrist because you can see there's a bunch of hair. So you wanna make sure that the hair is actually there. If there's no hair there, then the wax isn't gonna pull anything out. I typically want my hair to be like 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch before I start waxing, because if it's not long enough, the wax won't be able to basically seep in and pull out the wax. So first, we're going to use the pre-wax spray. So this will help just sanitize the area. Yeah, so your pre-wax spray is going to help you sanitize your area. Okay, sorry, I just had to grab a paper towel. All right, so I still have it on, so just wipe it down, sanitize the area that you're waxing. And you also want to make sure that the area is dry. So I sweat a lot. So when I am waxing, especially if I'm doing my Brazilian or my armpits, I will just keep dry paper towels handy so I can kind of just like wipe myself off in between, wipe the sweat off. So I don't know, and if you look, there you go, you could see it there. There you go, you could see it now. Okay, now we're gonna get started. Okay, so here we go. So I like to do that, and then I'll just kind of give it a second, and then I'm gonna roll it. And now let's go apply it. Okay, so when you're applying your wax, apply it in the direction of hair growth. Whichever direction your hair is growing, apply it in that same direction. So I want to make sure that I get everywhere. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to like apply it and put it on at the same time. Okay, so now you're just gonna let it dry. I applied it in the direction of my hair growth. I am just going to go ahead and let it dry. It is recommended that you use a new stick each time for sanitation reasons. I do that with my Brazilian and my armpits, but my arms and legs I don't. I use the same stick, which I probably shouldn't, but I'm just being honest. Okay, so gonna wait for this to dry. Now, when you pull it, you want to pull it in the opposite direction of the hair growth. Okay, so now we're gonna pull in the opposite direction. I like to get a little, I think they call it a tongue, but like just a little, I like to lift off a little bit from here. And ready? I just kind of count it down. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay, so now let's show you. I want to try and make it so you guys can see. Hold on, I'm going to stick you up here. Okay, so I want you guys to be able to see the hair that it pulled. I'm hoping you guys can see it because I could see it on my end through the camera, so I'm hoping that you guys can see it also. And then let's show you my arm. So now, I mean, there's always going to be a couple stragglers, but it's not that bad. I don't know if you could tell the difference between the two hair-wise, but like this, let me see if you can see the hair. Like I see it through my end of the camera, so I want to make sure you guys could see it too. And this one is waxed. So yeah, that is my review of all of my products, let me show you the best part about the silicone molds. Okay, so I turned off my pod. And all I did with this was I just pulled it out. I literally just pulled it out, boom. And then when it dries, it just breaks apart. And then I put it in my scrap bag. So, oh, one more thing. Okay, so when you're done waxing, after wax spray, it will help the skin heal. Oh shit, whatever. A little bit goes a long way. So I will just kind of rub this on, and that's it. I do get like red dots after I wax, and it goes away after like a day. For me, it's normal. So yeah, that is my review of my wax products, and stay tuned.